Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Dynamite or Mike. Mike Lane here with Tony Schiavone and with Montel Vertadius Porter. And today on Dynamite or Might, we're gonna have Holy Fellow Nicholas here. Father Yule or Santa Claus here today on Dynamite or Might, Mike Lane says. You got that right, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone said. We're going to be seeing Santa Claus or Father Yule or Holy Fellow Nicholas here today on Dynamite or Might, Tony Schiavone says. You got that right, Montel Vertadius Porter says. And I don't want to know which Santa Claus we're going to get. You know, is it going to be the white Santa or the black Santa? Either or, Holy Fellow Nicholas, Father Yule, Santa Claus, you know, he's a good man all around. Except, sadly, he's guilty of many things that some folks would say is sinful and unlawful, Montel Vertadius Porter says. Like what? Well, Tony, why Mike Lane said, tell me why you think Santa Claus is a sinner and an outlaw. And you say he's doing sinful and unlawful things, Mike Lane says. I don't know, Tony Schiavone said. I don't know why he's saying that for. I don't know why he's saying that for, Tony Schiavone said. Because he knows when children are awake and when children are asleep. He knows that they've been bad or good. He's always coming into folks' houses on Yule Eve, going into Yule Day, giving out gifts. Sooner or later, he's either going to get sooner or later, and why no one's never ever stopped him is beyond me. Ho, 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 Montel Vertadius Porter says. One day he's going to get himself in a bind. If it was any other man or woman doing it, it would be sinful and unlawful. They'd be seen as a sinner and an outlaw, Montel Vertadius Porter says. Ho, 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 happy Yule. It is I, Santa Claus, also known as Father Yule, or Holy Fellow Nicholas, or Santa Claus, or Papa Noel. Now, those are all the borrowed words for my name. Papa Noel are the Spanish borrowed words. And Santa Claus was most likely taken from the Dutch taking from Holy Fellow Nicholas, which Santa Claus came from. As the folks in the 4-1 Kingdom call me and other steads call me, they call me Father Yule. So we know that, we know the 24th is coming up. That's Yule Eve in Western Christendom. And then that's the busiest early morning of my life. And then a lot of folks might say that, I'm done for the gift giving for the year. Not so true. Because Eastern Christendom, they do Yule in the first month. So then once again, I got to yield to the end of the first month, the 24th, and the 24th of the first month going into the 25th of the first month, where I got to give gifts out to all the folks in Eastern Christendom, because they don't do Yule in the 12th month, they do Yule in the first month. So no, I'm still busy. But I'm here to tell you that that Yule is not about me. Yule is about onlooking the birth of Jesus, Son of God, which God gave Jesus to all mankind and all womankind as a gift, to be freed from one's sins, to have one's sins atoned for, cleaned away. And since God loved us and forgave us so much, He was willing to give us Jesus. And Jesus loved us and forgave us so much, He was willing to be that one. So that's why we folks in both Western and Eastern Christendom onlook Yule so much. But there isn't a set handbook that tells a Christendom folk how to do Yule. There isn't. You're really on your own about how you go by doing it. Santa Claus, Holy Fellow Nicholas, Father Yule. You would be one of those outstanding folks that I would love. You would be one of those well-known folk that I could shift a stone. And mine see it this way. If I would shift you to stone, then no one would be getting any gifts on Yule. Either the Western Yule or even the Eastern Yule. I could tell you right now, Medusa, that is sinful, and it'd also be unlawful, since slaying is both sinful and unlawful, and it would make one a sinner and an outlaw for doing it. But you see, Medusa, we man-like, woman-like beings are sinful, sadly, either by our thoughts or by our deeds. But you see, God and Jesus so loved and so forgave the world, them being all-seeing, all-knowing, almighty, all-loving and all-forgiving, all-good and all-holy and all-righteousness, was willing to have our sins taken on, our sins atoned for, our sins cleaned away, so we could get our stead in heaven through God and through Jesus, so we could be as clean once again, even though we are still sinners, by our thoughts and also by our deeds. Oh, you know what Medusa says? I don't want to even want to know how you break into folks' houses every Yule, the 12th month in Western, the 1st month in Eastern Yule. How you fly to all the lands of the world without getting shot down once. And it's a wonder that you never got shot by anyone, breaking into their house. And somehow, the only things that you've been known to eat or drink is milk and cookies. Do you know how much Wheathurst and how much strength is in one glass of milk and cookies? And it's a wonder you never got a stroke or a heart strike or never got Wheathurst sickness. It's a wonder that you are somehow still alive all these years, that you somehow live in the North Steeple, which is above Greenland, which is the last slight of North Vinland that anyone can live in. But somehow you do. Somehow you have elves, and all their goals are mostly gift making. But nowadays, it's probably more gift buying than gift making. And if Yule is about the birth of Jesus, you have nothing to do with it. You see, you do have your holy day, Holy Fellow Nicholas Day, and it was on the 6th, not the 25th. Yes, Medusa, you are right. Yule is not about me. And as far about the other things about me, and as far as the other things about me go, it's all offshooted to my folklore. That's what it is. How about this one? Someone says they want to see you get stunnered. And I can't stun you like Steve Austin or Disco Inferno or Mikey Riffraff or Kevin Owens. But I could stun you like Grayson Waller. Oh! Medusa just gave Father Yule the stunner. What a bitch, Mike Lane says. She would stun Father Yule. That's right, Mike. That's right, Tony Schiavone says. Santa Claus, Holy Fellow Nicholas, Father Yule, he got stunnered. And here comes Nico Sanatini. Nico Sanatini coming in the ring to help Santa Claus out. And Medusa, Santa Claus can't stand up right now. And Medusa, the weakling, runs out of the ring. You alright, Santa Claus? Yeah, I'm alright. Thank you, Miko Sanatini. You know what? Medusa, you bitch. No one ever beats up on Santa Claus or Father Yule or Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas or whatever you want to call him. You know, you need to be ashamed of yourself. So I think that we should have a match here today between you and me, and I dare you to shift this law keeper into stone. Well, thank you, Miko Sanatini, for helping me out, and good luck with your match against Medusa, and you'll have some gifts on Yule Day. But the true gift you're going to get comes from God, which is Jesus. Yes, you are right. And a happy Yule to you too, Santa Claus, Holy Fellow Nicholas, Father Yule. Thank you. I mean, that is just sad that Medusa would do that. And now the Fight Lord's in the ring now. And now we got to get the Yule trees out of the ring. You know, that were in the ring. That fell down, Mike Lane says, when Medusa stunned Father Yule. I tell you what, Tony Schiavone said, I thought I saw a lot of, low misdeeds, in my long time of being a play-by-play caller and skilled wrestling, but I never thought that I was going to see something like that happen, Tony Schiavone says. You don't forget, Montel Vertadius Porter says, Santa Claus's only grounds in skilled wrestling is to get beat up by a heel wrestler. You know that they do that. They've been doing that for years, And now Medusa came in. Santa Claus has been getting beat up by wrestlers in skilled wrestling for years, That's his only grounds, Oh, and now we have a body slam. Montel Vertadius Porter says, so Santa Claus's whole beinghood in skilled wrestling is to get beat up by heel wrestlers or fighters or overstars, Montel Vertadius Porter says. That's not true, Tony Schiavone says. There were some years where Santa Claus never got beat up on. And now you're going to make a forgiveness for Medusa and say, it's alright because everyone else does it in skilled wrestling, so it makes it right, Tony Schiavone said. Well, Mike Lane says, Tony Schiavone, Montel Vertadius Porter has his own belief, his own fodder take on it, but I don't think it makes it right to beat up on Father Yule. And Miko Sanatini clotheslined out Medusa, who just out of the ring now, by Nico Sanatini from Above the Law, or Miko Above the Law, which is sometimes the name of the film which itself came from, Mike Lane says. And I think Medusa is going to yield here. She's going to get a reckoning out, Mike Lane says. Yeah, she was a weakling when she struck Father Yule, and now she's a weakling again by walking out on Nico Sanatini here. If I'm saying that Italish or Intelish kin name right. Well, Montel Vertadius Porter says if the fight overling is going, the fight keeper is going to reckon her out. No, Medusa's trying to come back in now and do something that only Grayson Waller likes to do. Come in and gave him the stunner. Oh! Medusa did what Grayson Waller does in WWE. First on NXT and now on SmackDown. Run in and give someone a stunner, Mike Lane says. A new take on a hold that the Disco Inferno, Mikey Riffraff, and Steve Austin and Kevin Owens all did. But the new take on it, Mike Lane said, he'd fly in from the rope and strike someone and knock him down. So, Nico Sanatini in a bind, Mike Lane said. Yeah, Tony Schiavone said. Miko Sanatini is a law keeper, at least from the film Nico Above the Law, or Above the Law, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, I don't really care if he was Steven Seagal's first self that Steven Seagal played in his first film or not, Montel Vertadius Porter says. At the end of the day, Miko Sanatini's going to be shift to stone, Montel Rotadius Porter says. And then you'll never see him again. Miko Sanatini got body slammed again. And now Medusa's coming off the top steeple. Here he comes. Medusa. Miko Sanatini gave her a stunner this time. Mike Lane says, what's good for the goose is good for the bitter. Tony Schiavone said, that's not fair. That's not fair that he stuns Medusa like that. Offshoot from her stunner or neck breaker. Montel Rotadius Porter says, 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner, Nico Sanatini. Nico Sanatini has beat Medusa here today on Dynamite, getting even for what Miko Sanatini did earlier, what Medusa did earlier when she gave Father Yule or Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas the stunner, Mike Lane says. You got that right, Tony Schiavone says. Everyone out there always likes it when some heel wrestler beats up on some good wrestler playing Father Yule or Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas or whatever. You know. And mostly these days, that seems to be the grounds of it. Shit. Well, I'll tell you right now, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone, I liked how Medusa beat up on Father Yule or Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas, because that's his whole ground for being in the skilled wrestling business, is to get beat up between the 11th month and the 12th month in skilled wrestling businesses. So I thought it was cool what Medusa did. Yeah, you did, Mike Lane said. You would think that was cool. Yeah, you would, Tony Schiavone says. Montel Rotadius Porter. Alright, Mike Lane says. Take it away, Jim Ross. Thank you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Medusa here today on Dynamite. Or I'm going to be talking with Medusa here today on Dynamite or Might. Alright, Medusa. You've been in a toy wrestling gathering ever since the end of 2006 between YL, and you've been a bully creeping a heel, and then you stunnered Father Yule, Santa Claus, Holy Fellow Nicholas. Do you have no shame or guilt? Well, I should be asking you the same thing, Jim Ross, or good old JR Jim Ross. You have no shame or guilt for wearing the cowboy hat as you've been wearing since between 97 YL. You know. And I'll tell you what something. Santa Claus, his whole beinghood and skilled wrestling is to get beat up by a heel wrestler. You know. And don't make a double standard. You liked it when Steve Austin stunnered Santa Claus in between 97 YL. You know? So don't make a double standard and say it's alright when a good wrestler beats up someone as Santa Claus, like Big Van Vader did to Goldust in the same year. But then it's wrong. But it's alright for It was alright for Steve Austin to do it. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about all the time Santa Claus was either beating up someone or getting himself beat up in every skilled wrestling business from past to now. I'm talking about what you did here, what you did to Santa Claus, Father Yule, Holy Fellow Nicholas, Santa Claus, was sad. Do you have no shame or guilt, Medusa? You already answered your asking thing, Jim Ross. I have no guilt. I have no shame for what I did. You know, beating up on Father Yule or Santa Claus or Holy Fellow Nicholas, if it's a sin or a misdeed, then that makes me sinful and unlawful. Then that makes me a sinner and an outlaw, if so. Anyway, I would do it again, you know. So, but sadly, I gotta yield the whole rest of the year until the 11th month and 12th month of next year to do it again. Unless you're in Eastern Christendom, then you get to do it in the first month. Well, that's my talk with Medusa, who is still being a bitch. Forgive my English. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Thank you, Jim Ross, for talking with Medusa here today on Dynamite or Might. And that's all the time we got here for Dynamite or Might. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, Montel Vertadius Porter. We hope you like Dynamite or Might, and we'll see you tomorrow for Impact on XSTV or Smash and Inside FS.